Doug in Olathe, Kansas. I'm glad you waited. It's great to have you on the EIB network. Hello.
Rush, mega dittos, mega prayers, Rush, for a miracle. I have been listening to you for decades, and I want to, in my travels and in my work, I have encountered a lot of people, but none like you. People have wondered since the time of antiquity, really, what is the meaning of life? Why are we here? Why was I born? And these words to me are important, and I want...
Okay, hang on just a second. If you ponder things like this, I'd love to know what you do for a living. Would you mind telling me?
I don't mind, and I'm grateful that you asked. I have a podcast, a conservative political podcast that I have started since COVID. I was furloughed from healthcare. I was an executive in the healthcare industry.
Okay.
But I, in March, started a podcast, and I studied to be a priest once upon a time.
All right.
Now, Rush, the meaning of life, this question that people have pondered, and my simple definition is this: the reason that we're born, the reason that we're here, is to enter continually into the lives of others to make differences for the better. And you, Rush, have fulfilled the meaning of life time and time again. You have entered my life and influenced me. You've entered millions of lives to make differences for the better, and I want you to hear those words, and I want you to know that I believe them, and thank you for everything, Rush. I can only hope that one day maybe there would be a soundbite on your show, Rush Limbaugh, fulfilling the meaning of life. But in seriousness, thank you. I'm so grateful that I got through, and I'm so grateful that I got to tell you my view on that and how it applies to you.
Well, that's pretty powerful. I'm greatly moved by that. I think a lot of people now and then will get very introspective and will ask a version of that question: why are we here? What's the meaning of life? Is this all there is? There's got to be, particularly people who don't think they're mattering much, people who think that they've got things to do that they haven't done, or people who are, some people, very highly achieved and are not satisfied by it, not like they thought they would be. They're very highly achieved, maybe even earn a lot of money, but there's still an emptiness in them. So they're running around asking themselves, what is this all about? Why are we here? And what, again, is you think people are here, the reason for life, we're here to involve ourselves and interact in the lives of others for the betterment of those lives. Is that what you say?
Yes, simply put, we are called to enter into the lives of others continually to make differences for the better.
To make differences for the better. And does that stem from your religious training and beliefs or something else? Is it metaphysical?
I think to a degree it does, yes. The short answer to that question is yes. But I don't think one has to be necessarily religious to want to enter into the lives of others to make differences for the better. I think that's a basic human calling and a basic human recognition.
It can be said that some of the greatest feelings of satisfaction that people will ever experience are when they've done something for somebody else that person couldn't do for themselves. For people that experience that, there's nothing like it. It is a great, great, great feeling of, I don't want to belittle it by getting the definition wrong. Satisfaction, achievement, there's something deeply meaningful about it. So I think you have a point to be able to make a difference in somebody's life in a way that they might not be able to themselves.
Exactly. Yeah, and I just want, words to me are important, and those are, I think, powerful words, and given all that you're going through, I want to make sure that somebody tells you that you and your life have fulfilled the meaning of life by entering into ours to make differences for the better.
Well, I certainly hear you, and I'm thank you for it. I'm very profoundly, deeply moved by that. I myself have pondered the quote-unquote meaning of life. Why are we here? And when I do, that's just another avenue that takes me straight to God. You can't answer that question without believing in or acknowledging the existence of and then trying to understand God, knowing you're never going to. But the effort of trying to is a great, great thing. And you can get in the weeds pretty quickly when you start asking, what is the purpose of life? Why are we all here? And how deeply do you take it? What's the humanity? You're talking about all life, because it's all combined. And I spend a lot of time thinking about things like this in a philosophical way, as a way of confirming beliefs. There was a French philosopher named Pascal who practically went nuts trying to prove to himself the existence of God. He got mad as heck that God would not reveal himself. First name was Blaise Pascal. And he, since God would not reveal himself, he began to philosophize, come up with ways of proving to himself God existed without God having to prove it, because he figured out God never was going to prove it. That God was, you believe or you don't. It's not up to me. God says it's up to you. It's this thing called faith, and it's up to you. So Pascal began to evolve all kinds of different philosophy. The thing that gave him the biggest challenge was the resurrection. He just intellectually, how in the world can that happen? So he came up with an explanation that satisfied himself. And you may be familiar with it. And I'm paraphrasing his end result. But he eventually postulated that it is much easier to believe that something that has been can be again. Much easier to believe that than to believe that something that has never been can be or will be. And so it was that simple little philosophy that gave him some comfort. Hey, if something existed once again, it can be again. And that's how he... Now, a lot of believers think it's blasphemy. You don't try to solve it yourself. You accept it. Believe it. That's the faith. You start trying to prove it. Well, Pascal needed... My father was the same way. He evolved all kinds of stuff, shared his philosophies and theories on all this with my brother and me. Anyway, I'm a little long. Got to take a break. We will be back. Thank you very much, Doug. Deeply appreciate your nice... For your... Rush Limbaugh, fulfilling the meaning of life. 3 hours a day. Look at